What's going on, guys? Rezagun here. So today, I'm actually going to be talking about a portable, like I've been talking about for a minute. Uh, this video is basically about, Nintendo's competitor back in the day. So back in the day, Nintendo was the big dog, right? They were a really good company. They produced so many games at such a decent price that a lot of people felt that was very affordable. That most people trusted Nintendo. But once Sega Genesis came around, people were like, "Ooh, I wonder if Sega will be coming out with anything." Of course, they did. So that would be the Game Gear, released back in April of '91, I believe. The Game Gear was the main competitor to the Nintendo Game Boy for a good while. And it did well. It didn't sell as many units as the Game Boy, obviously, but it did well enough. It had a colored screen, backlit, you didn't have to worry about any kind of light or anything like that. It was honestly a really good system. It's still a very solid system for the most part. Yeah, it's got some problems, but overall, I didn't really get to play the Game Gear growing up until quite recently, within the past few months. This is my personal Game Gear. This is one I use quite often. This is one I've actually recapped personally. Honestly, that was quite a process. And if you plan on doing that, I highly suggest you don't do surface mount capacitors unless you know what you're doing or you have the right equipment at least. Otherwise, you're gonna have a bad time. Believe me, I didn't have the right tip for the soldering iron. I don't even have a little heat rework station altogether, really. I don't have anything like that. All I have is a simple soldering iron, some solder, and I'm good to go. But yeah, I got the chance to really check this out, whenever, like after fixing it and everything. And I've really been enjoying it. I've gotten a little over 10 games so far for it, each one being fairly cheap. I think the most I spent on one was like maybe $10. I forget which one that was. First game I actually got for this was Chuck Rock, and that was just to test the game or test the system itself. Overall, I've really been enjoying that. It's a fun game. There's multiple ports of it, but I do like the Game Gear version quite a bit. Now there's a couple reasons why I picked this up. One was because I did want to check out the Game Gear itself, see if I would really like it. And I mean, for as cheap as Game Gears go for usually, it's not bad at all. This one I spent a little bit more on because I wanted the blue version. This is the main one that I've been wanting. And yeah, I won't say how much, but it wasn't the cheapest for a blue Game Gear, but it was okay. It wasn't terrible. I got it locally, thankfully, so they decided to do free shipping because it was like an hour drive that way. But yeah, the other reason why I picked this up though was to actually try and make it into a portable system, which you can do with an adapter that Sega sold back in the day. That adapter is the Master Gear, but in my case this is the Gear Master. This is one that a third-party company made. Still works the same, does the exact same job. So what it does is it actually plays your Sega Master System games. And I have Afterburner in mine right now. Real simple. Pop it in the back, give it a good press, screw it in if you choose to. I like to just because I don't like that screw just sticking out. It bugs me. And you're good to go. Now, I mean, there's a few mods that you can do for this overall, like for the Game Gear itself, to where, you can get a better screen for it. McWill has one right now that's a little over $100. I think it's like 115, maybe more. I could be wrong. But that is honestly a process. And if you have no experience with any type of electronics, like any kind of modding or anything like that, I really suggest you send that off to somebody. If anything, I can include a link down in the description below, so that way you can at least check out somebody that I know is reputable. There's a couple other things you can do. I know people that have done lithium batteries in these. I'm personally not going to do that one. I might at least have my screen done just because I want to be able to play my Master System games a little bit nicer. Yeah. I did at least replace the screen, or the lens with the glass one. And I've honestly really been liking that. I think that is a lot nicer. I think it's a lot more durable in the end. But overall, super satisfied with this system. If you have the chance, I say pick one up. And if for whatever reason it doesn't work, again, send it off if you don't feel comfortable working on it, if you want to tinker. You know, I don't suggest this being your first thing. I really don't, because it's a lot of work. I suggest at least, you know, practicing a bit, because I didn't feel comfortable doing this until, gosh, after I'd fixed some games, maybe a couple consoles here and there, because I felt a little bit more comfortable in those. This was my first kind of big project, really. And I mean, I'm currently working on the Sega CD that's back there, and that's honestly even bigger than this. But, you know, Game Gear was honestly super awesome. I personally don't mind the screen that much. It does need work, obviously. But overall, if you can find one that, you know, at least has a working screen still, then you should be good to go, you know. Sadly, over time, you know, you still have to take care of the capacitor, you still have to take care of everything that goes wrong with the Game Gear, just because, you know, sadly Sega didn't put that much effort into these, and that's what honestly sucks the most. But yeah. Thankfully mine actually came with a cover. You can buy these separately online if you choose to. I was just lucky enough that mine came with one. I did actually buy a second one that was just the standard black version. I've got it sitting around here somewhere. But sadly with that one the screen was completely kaput. Well, not completely, it was like cut in half pretty much. But it's a different model than what McWill's screen can do. McWill's screen is only used for a VA1 and a VA2 model. Mine is actually a VA4. I've contacted BenVen asking if his screen will actually be able to use a VA4 system, and he said it's going to require some testing before he can actually give a solid answer. So we'll see. I'm hoping it does, because I would love to get that one fixed as well. Possibly sell it just because I have no use for two. You know, even if that one craps out, I can't use my Master System adapter for the VA4, sadly. Can't even use a TV tuner on that one. I don't know why you would, but hey, to each their own, really. But yeah, thankfully when it comes to the games, they're actually super cheap. You know, you can buy multiple Game Gear games for like $3, $4, $5. You know, you get a little uncomfortable when you start seeing, oh, this one's $10. Like that's where you're just like, oh no, I can't do that. But overall, I do think a lot of the games are very much worth it. You know, I've played Sonic Chaos, Triple Trouble, Sonic 2, the original Sonic. That's mostly what I've got, sadly, right now is the Sonic games. Dynamite Heady's really good. But, you know, those are just some of the ones that I've got currently. Those are some of the ones that you can pick up if you choose to. I do suggest them for the most part. Triple Trouble's a little meh, in my opinion. It's not that great, honestly, but it's not bad. If you're going to pick up any of those, though, I do suggest Sonic Chaos. I loved that game so much. It was so much fun to play, and I actually sat down one day and I said, you know what? I'm going to beat this game. I don't care if I get the good ending or bad ending. That's right, there's two endings for it. I got the bad ending because I didn't know where all the Chaos Emeralds were, sadly. But it was honestly really fun. So yeah. In the end, I spent roughly, you know, maybe $5 to fix that thing, if that. I got it from Console 5. They're really good when it comes to getting parts for you, for the most part. There's some things that I have trouble finding a lot of the times, like the faceplate for my Sega CD. Actually, it's for a Mega CD for, you know, the Japan console, which it still looks really awesome. I still love it, but that was something I was missing for the longest time on that thing, and it really upset me until I found one, and that was not cheap. Let me tell you. But honestly, Game Gear is definitely worth it in my opinion. It was very ahead of its time, really, in the end. And honestly, like, when it comes to portables, you know me, I love my portables, and I honestly can't get enough of them. If, you know, somebody could figure out, you know, a better way to play Master System games, you know, I would honestly love to hear it. But I like the idea of being able to pop in a Master System game, pop it out, pop out the adapter, and put in another Game Gear game. I love that idea. I don't think there's really a better way to play it in the end, when it comes to being portable anyways. Getting an actual Master System, that's a whole other story. That was actually the reason why I got the Game Gear, was because I wanted to see if I would actually enjoy the Master System, because I wanted the adapter, so that way I could go out, test games while I'm out, and enjoy it that way. That's the main reason why I have all my portables, so that way I can actually test them while I'm out. That's actually something I've got in mind. Is actually I want to be able to carry around all of my portables if possible. I've got a nice idea going on in my brain that I will debut whenever it's finished. But for the moment, I'm just gonna give small hints here and there. Basically, talking about, hey, I picked up this for this. Basically just sitting here saying it's getting closer, until finally, wha-bam! But until that day, you'll have to wait patiently. Especially if it gets enough traction, I'd be okay with, distributing said item. But we'll see. We shall see. Because I do know there are other people like me out there that enjoy being able to take their game cartridges and just pop them in, play them wherever they want. That's the whole reason why the Superboy exists. That's why the Sega Nomad existed. That's why even Retrobit's talking about making another Sega Nomad, which I'm very much hoping for. But that's also why my arcade has been developing the Retro Champ and the Super Retro Champ. Yeah, that's the other part of this video. I gotta talk about that a little bit. So when it comes to the Retro Champ, I talked about it a couple videos back whenever I was looking at other handhelds. Basically just a portable NES with Famicom on the bottom. Really big, about the size of an iPad. Most people are like, oh no, I can't do that. Me, I'm just like, crap, I'll try it, If it looks better, why not? But when it comes to the Super Retro Champ, that one's actually going to be a Super Nintendo as well as a Sega Genesis. It's basically taking the best of both worlds, slapping them together and say, here you go, enjoy. The thing is though, it looks very similar to the first Retro Champ, and that's something that worries me, is how are the triggers going to do for the Super Nintendo? How is, the actual buttons for the Genesis going to really do? Because, I know that some people have played Genesis games with an adapter for the Super Nintendo, or with an adapter for the controllers, and it's something that I'm just still worried about in the end, and I'm just not super comfortable in the end with it. We'll see how it turns out. It's very early in development still. They debuted it at CES 2020, and while I'm excited for it, I'm also kind of worried, because I love my Superboy, I love my Sega Nomad. How are you going to be able to combine the two and really make a really awesome system for me? There still hasn't been any announcement as to when that's going to be coming, but it was still really neat to see. And there's still no announcement for the actual Retro Champ. I need that to come out. I have been waiting. I thought it was going to be coming at Christmas, and I was wrong. I really need this now. I want to be able to really show it to you guys. I want to be able to sit here and give my thoughts on it. I think it'll be a pretty decent system in the end by the looks of it. Some people are not comfortable with the way the buttons are laid out for the A and B. It could be worse. It could be like how they usually have their micro players, where A is on the bottom, B is on the top, where it should be the other way around, B and A. And that's... oof. Thankfully, the Retro Champ has actually gone through a lot of different development stages. I'm hoping they do the same for the Super Retro Champ, because I want to see that in its full potential in the end. And I think, as long as they listen to the fans like they did for the D-pad and the buttons, I think it'll actually do well. I really hope so. I think the next video for us guys will actually be us going out for a bit, do a nice small vlog. We'll go to some of my local shops for sure. There's actually a new one getting ready to open near me. It's actually a second part of a franchise that, was just a family-owned business. Still is, but they decided to open up a second store. That's, maybe 20 minutes away. Not bad. Yeah, I'm going to take y'all around, really show what all's available. And I want you all to actually give me some input, say, hey, pick up that game, pick up that game. My budget isn't the biggest, but I'm willing to spend a little extra, especially if it's a really good game. Me, I'm looking for GameCube, but I'm also looking for other systems, so be sure to keep an eye out for me. I'll be sure to keep an eye out myself, and I'll let you know what I pick up, for sure. But I do think that'll actually be it today, guys. So remember, check me out, go to some of my other videos, please. They need some views. I know that, right now I'm just sort of filming for nobody but myself. Basically to help motivate me. That's all this really is in the end. And if I can get some support, great. But in the end, this is all for me. I'm wanting to I'm wanting to motivate myself not only to get this room completed, but to complete my GameCube collection, to really, bring out some more passion for me. Really work on a lot of my skills. Like, I know the past couple videos have been kind of crappy because sound's been too loud, a picture stayed up too long, the video was wobbly. I'm working on that as best as I can. I know with the last video, the editing wasn't the greatest. You gotta understand I'm also doing all this on my phone, So it's not gonna be that great, sadly, going forward, but I'm gonna work on it as best I can. I'm gonna try to really develop my skills. That's all I'm really wanting to do in the end, is develop my skills for this, because I am passionate about making videos and everything. It's something I used to do back in the day as well, but I just haven't had time for the longest time, and I'm glad I actually have a little bit of time to do it now. So, if you like this video, you know what to do. If you didn't, hit that button, but still from line stick if you like that. But be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and remember, take care.